I want to bring up a story we have here. This is really cool. And I saw this story over at Daily Mail. It's body cam captures moment cop single-handedly lifts overturned car off Virginia mother thrown outside vehicle after crash. And first of all, I was like, dude, that is cool. A cop, to save a woman, lifted the vehicle by himself.
Amazing.
Wow. Now, I think it was upside down and he was able to push it off and roll it or something. But I was also thinking, you rarely see these stories go viral.
Exactly. I was just sitting here thinking the same thing. It's you got all of this anti-police rhetoric every single day, which is, of course, why you're seeing violent crime rise in a city
Cops
like Philadelphia. It's and you talk about removing a cop's qualified immunity. I'll give your viewers an example of what that means. As a soldier on the battlefield, you've got protection in that regard too. So in other words, if one of my soldiers gets injured, I run out and I try to render first aid. Maybe they got a sucking chest wound, and we save their life, put them on a helicopter, get them back to the States, and maybe they have an issue with their lungs. Right? Should that soldier be able to sue the federal government or the Department of Defense because he was wounded on the battlefield? Right now, it's illegal. You can't do that because at the end of the day, you're in combat, you're surrounded by death and destruction. You're doing the best you can to save lives.
So the government is immune from
the DOD or the Army in general.
So what does this mean for the cop?
Well, what it means for the cop is that if a cop is out there just trying to do their job, and they can be sued by anybody for doing anything 800 times. Absolutely. So it's like defunding. You're 100% right. It's like defunding the police without actually
right. They're all it's all eroding.
You're going to be yes.
I think that one's a challenge because I'm not entirely sure how you deal with it. Just not being able to sue. Maybe there should be a higher burden or something, because when we had, I think Chauvin, they said he had, 19 complaints or something out of 18 years. And I'm actually sounds pretty good. You'd think a cop is I'm writing you a ticket. I'm going to complain about you. It's everyone's going to complain. Nobody wants to get pulled over. Nobody wants to get arrested.
The point, what we're talking about though is to your point is all we hear is the negative, but cops, they are out there every single day putting it all on the line, doing good things for people. And this story is just one example of it.
It's a cool story. Let me show a little bit. So this is a vehicle flipped over, and the officer was able to lift it up to save the individual. I mean, I'll just give you the bullet points here. They say Gloucester County Sheriff Deputy John Holt rescued the woman when she had been trapped under the sunroof of the car after it wrecked on May 7th. Her young son is heard desperately crying out, "Mommy, mommy," before the deputy was able to rescue her. Oh. The incredible video has since gone viral after being shared on Tuesday by the sheriff's office with more than 84,000 views on Facebook. That's not viral. 84,000 views, not viral. You can go on Twitter and there's a video of some random dude farting. It's got 1 million views. You want to talk about viral? They say he recently received a local and regional top cop award for saving a disabled young girl and a woman from a burning home last March. But I still see this and I'm I've heard these stories about how people can muster up inhuman strength because humans are actually much stronger than we are on a daily basis. I don't know exactly how it works, but I read there's a limiter that humans only exert around 20% of their actual muscular capacity.
How do you know this stuff?
As I'm on Reddit, and someone posted did you know?
This is fast. I'm just
I don't know if it's true. You got to fact check me on this one, but it's something we there's a limit to how much strength we can use unless we get our adrenaline pumping and there's a live or die moment, because your muscles start destroying themselves when you exert too much. But what you hear these stories about a mother and she's able to pull her daughter up, hanging from with one arm and lift them up and then pull herself up to save a child or lift a vehicle. These are cool stories. And so I want to make sure we're not always just stewing in the negativity, but there's still some negativity here. What happens on Facebook? I saw a video going viral today, and it was on Reddit, and it was cop kicks a man in the head even though he's already subdued and is being arrested, and it was true. There's a video of a guy's on the ground with his hands behind his back. The cop's cuffing him, and a cop runs up and just punts his head. And I'm now why would that cop do that? More importantly, I've seen this video 1,000 times because it gets recycled. They put it up, it gets traffic, they put it up again. This story, 84,000 views. A cop lifted a vehicle to save a woman. How many times is that going to get recycled? It's not. It only got 84,000 views. I see this video on Reddit. It's got 1 million views. In a week, it'll have 1 million views again. In a month, it'll have 1 million views again because they keep sharing the same things over and over and over again.
These social media companies and search engines control what you see. And when you control the flow of information, you control what people think in certain regards.
And now people hate the police. I mean, look, You look at the algorithms and what they've produced over the past 10 years, it sounds like Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg purposefully want to destroy this country. They have driven people insane. There are people who literally believe the cops go around hunting black people. They actually believe that. So PragerU, they send out Will Witt. Will goes to like Venice skate park in California, same skate park we were talking about just a moment ago. And he asks 3 young black men, how many unarmed black men do they think had been killed in the past year? And they're like, thousands. It's like 19. It's bad. Like 19 people. But we're in a country of 320 million people. What is it? 375 million police interactions. 19 of which resulted in unarmed black men being shot and killed. And of those, some of them are actually justified. In like a guy was trying to run someone over, so he's not armed, but he's using a car. Or they're about to attack someone, or they're about to they grab someone by the throat and they're beating them or pummeling them. Or sometimes it was a wrongful shooting. In some circumstances, they're all bad. We don't want people to die.
Of course not. Right.
But because of social media, because they weaponize this stuff, everyone goes insane. And don't get me wrong, it goes the other direction too. What you see on the left today is, I think social media has helped form the culture war into factions of people who blindly just believe whatever the media says, no matter what, and the people who, for the most part, distrust the media, with a decent portion who distrust no matter what the media says, that they'll distrust them. So you end up with people who believe the earth is flat, or who believe in these weird conspiracy theories about lizard people because they go online and they can find the stuff and they believe it. And I hear some of the craziest stuff when I read the news. But do those people have any institutional power? The people who think the earth is flat, are they in Congress? No.
Well, people believe in God. I mean, that's almost as ridiculous.
No, absolutely not.
There's zero evidence ever.
I mean, you're going to ignite a whole other conversation.
It is. It's a big conversation.
But there's not zero evidence. The issue is, if you want to talk about theism and like religious text and doctrine, I'm not talking about that. So I'm talking about people. You could literally climb a tower and measure the shadows and calculate the circumference of the planet, like that dude Eratosthenes did in 1 BC.
Because you can disprove the earth is flat. It's different than God.
You can prove the earth is round.
Right.
Believing in God and faith-based things and having philosophy is an entirely different discussion.
Lizard people. I mean,
right. There's
no evidence.
Lizard people is dramatically different from believing in God, dude.
But it's dramatically similar.
No, it's not.
Yeah, there's just no evidence. I'm agnostic. I mean,
I don't want to deviate and derail the conversation. You're confusing a philosophical and theological conversations with text and fairy tales.
Well, there's text about the flat Earth. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, but there's no scientific
and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not. It was before science was invented.
People go online and they watch insane videos about insane things and they believe it. They go online and they read books about, they see things about critical race theory. It's insane and they believe it. And that's bad. Zealotry and fundamentalism, all of these things are problems. They exist. So the problem is we need critical thinking. Instead, we get critical theory. And then people just blindly follow and march off cliffs like lemmings.
Well, and it's not just social media, right? Like much of the sort of propaganda that is pushed on people on social media is also taught in schools. And so we're teaching our kids from a very young age in our public schools, like critical race theory, for example, that, teaches kids to dislike each other or think about each other based on the color of their skin. That's
or hate their country.
Or hate their country, or think that America is fundamentally evil or bad. And this is a problem. And not only is it happening in our schools, now it's happening in our military, right? Like there are ideological purity tests for people in the military, teaching critical race theory in the military. And I'm telling you, look, I got out. I was medically retired in 2010. So it wasn't that long ago. I mean, we're talking like 11 years ago I got out. This stuff was nowhere to be found in the military because it ain't about you, right? In the military, one of the things they teach you at basic is that it's, okay, all of this, like, it ain't about you anymore. So we're going to shave your head. We're going to put you in a uniform. We're only as fast. This team is only as fast as its slowest person. We're all going to make our bed the same way. Our lockers are all going to be the same way, because what they're doing there is they're whittling down the individual identity and they're creating a collective, right? And that and look past our differences, work together. But that is
sounds a bit like what the critical theorists do.
But that's not. But see, the difference is that the focus in critical race theory is only on our differences.
Right.
That's a fundamental difference. And in the military, that can get you killed.
Because the goal of critical theory is to destroy. It's to deconstruct.
Yes.
They look. I've known many of these people for a long time, and they have routinely expressed their desire is to destroy the system. They just want to watch. Some say, I just want to watch it burn. Some say, from the ashes of the old, we will build a new. That's the idea. So critical theory is their means to an end. They think they will deconstruct everything, make it impossible to have communications. They will fracture any ability for a collective identity within the United States. And after that, it's rubble. Then they'll come back with their, whatever, communism, socialism.
We were always taught growing up that the reason why America was such a wonderful place, or part of the reason, was that we have people from all over the world that come here to live the American dream, be free, give a good life to their kids. Why? Because America is a melting pot. Do you remember that? Were you ever taught that as a kid?
Of course, the great American melting pot.
Yes. Well, America right now, it's a melting pot that's not melting. And that's a problem.
Critical theory is trying to re-emulsify the differences. Whereas we used to believe that you throw everybody in the melting pot and you get a nice fondue with a bunch of different flavors. They're actually trying to reverse entropy to get the pepper jack back out of the fondue.
You just compare America and the American people to fondue? I've never
You
actually
said melting pot.
I've never had fondue.
It's good.
It's a melting pot.
What is it?
It's melted cheese.
I talk about derailing the conversation. I'm sorry, but I don't know what
That's what
fondue is.
Fondue is a melting pot.
My diet.
You get a little thing. You throw cheddar and you throw in Swiss and pepper jack and whatever, and then you turn it on and it melts all of the cheeses together. And then you dip stuff in the cheese.
It sounds like something that you. It sounds like something that you would really like.
It's incredible.
We have one on the counter right now.
Of course you do. Of course.
Well, or you can take like oil, some garlic, some vinegar, soy sauce, and then boil it. And you put the meat in it. You blends everything. It's just a pot for.
This sounds a little adventurous to me. If I go to a restaurant, you give me dino chicken nuggets, some tater tots, I am good.
Here's the point.
I eat like a 2-year-old.
The Great American melting pot.
I don't know how we're here. I don't know how we got here.
It's the Great American melting pot. Listen.
Okay.
The Great American melting pot, right? You get some Chihuahua cheese from Mexico. You get some American cheese from America. You get some good Dubliner from Ireland. I think it's from Ireland. And then you throw it all in a pot and it all melts together. And we're like, this is some great cheese. What is it? I just mixed a bunch of stuff together. I do it all the time. I take like Colby Jack and Pepper Jack and Swiss and Havarti, and I just blend it up and I make nachos. And I'm like, isn't it amazing that you can get this great blend of cheeses? You ever have 4-cheese pizza?
Could you like DiGiorno?
Yeah, you go. You're like, I'll take the 4-cheese pizza.
Of course.
Now imagine if you're hanging out with someone and they were like, "Can I take the ricotta out of this pizza?" And you're like, "Dude, it's all blended together." Yeah, I know, but we should remove it.
Yeah, at some point.
You're like, that's critical theory.
Or I only want to eat that little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And the rest is wasted after you only. Eat that
mozzarella supremacy needs to end. Our pizzas should have different cheeses. So get the mozzarella out. You're like, but we melted it all together. Well, in the future, let's actually put blocks so that your pizza is actually.
I mean, what you're saying is accurate. I mean, they're actually like in certain colleges, they're having graduations. I mean,
they have segregated dorms.
This is not progressive. This is like, to be a progressive in today's day and age is actually to be a regressive. Like, they're going backwards in time with this stuff.
But they love using language. That's why. So I see on Twitter they're like,
critical race theory is diversity and inclusion training.
There's a reason why they say diversity, inclusivity, and equity.
Are you gonna tell me, right? Like,
diversity, inclusivity, and equity.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I didn't do that.
I didn't even realize it.
Diversity, inclusivity, and equity. These are the things they're calling for. They're literally saying die. I don't know why they do that.
Well,
they could not do that.
They do control. The left does an extraordinary job at controlling the language, right? And that's what we're talking about now. Like, critical race theory is inherently bad for the country, as we mentioned. It teaches people to hate their country, but they mask it and shroud it in words that sound nice.
They literally create diversity, inclusivity, and equity positions. Could you imagine someone hiring a special position in a company, and they say, "This is our die manager, die," and it's like. It's a little weird.
Yeah, well, hopefully they don't use the acronym or come up with something different or reshuffle the words.
But it's almost like they're laughing in our faces.
You've got
why are companies hiring diversity officers? What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything.
It's doublespeak. It's 1984.
Right. It's basically in communist China, Companies have to have the Communist Party member in the United States. They're just getting these companies to create an ideological, dogmatic job that makes no sense other than to indoctrinate the employees.
What I'll say is that, specifically in the context of the military, because I've been speaking out about this, but like diversity it's a good thing. Like in my platoon, we were very diverse, and because we were very diverse, we had a multitude of ideas that were brought to the table all the time. But you have to take diversity it's I don't want to say it's meaningless, but you have to have unity beyond the diversity in order for it all to work.
Yeah, I
right?
think diversity is a result of empowering individuals with opportunity. The diversity then comes from that.
Yes.
You can't force. I mean, if you force superficial diversity, you're going to end up with homogeneity.
Mm-hmm.
Homogeneity.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing. That's why they call it critical race theory. It's got a term that
Well,
encompasses
it's
all this.
critical theory. So one of the other mistakes people make is
Yeah.
they say critical race theory and they cut out the rest of it. It's like, no, it's critical theory in general.
Yeah, there's
All of it.
critical gender theory, there's critical literature, and critical literature theory, and I would say that true diversity is actually a huge strength because it brings people together. You're capitalizing on the things that make them different, that bring those good, strong components to your team.
Of course.
Like, for example, in your platoon that you were leading, you need all these people with different strengths.
Of course.
Actual diversity is pivotal.
It's great.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
so-
you're unified.
right.
Right? You're unified. Yes, we're all different, but that's part of what makes America great. Yes, we're all different, but we bring aspects of our culture that we love and we're proud of, and we integrate into American society, and then we share those blessings with other people, right?
Exactly.
Like, that's what makes this country great. That's why people risk their lives to come here from Cuba and shark-infested waters. They don't come here because they believe America is fundamentally evil. They come here because they believe America is free and their kids can have a better life than them. But the radical left does not believe that. They're taking this country back in the wrong direction, and we have to stop them. We have to stop them.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.